Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's well and enjoying the beautiful sunshine. Welcome to B4 Live. I'm Richard Rosser. This morning we've got Paul and Adam joining us from STL Communications based in Witney. Paul and Adam, if you want to come on screen. Don't be shy, he says to Paul, who's the most extrovert man he ever knows, buddy.
I'm not.
How are we doing?
Good morning.
Good morning, Adam. How are we?
Very good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Where are you based at the moment, Adam?
I'm based up in Cheshire, so yeah, very sunny, beautiful Cheshire countryside outside the window. So yeah, not a bad day at all.
Fantastic. And yourself, Paul, you're over in Marlow?
Yes, down in Marlow. Yeah, not making the most of it. Obviously can't go outside, but the views are nice.
So the 2 mile bike ride last night was not outside then?
That might have been.
Sorry.
Yeah, that might have been.
If it was 2 miles in 2 hours, you got something to worry about there.
Yeah, that's true.
Brilliant. Well, this morning you're going to be talking about all things comms. So over to you two.
Yeah, thank you.
Questions, as usual, put your question in the chat box at the bottom of the screen, and then either if you'd like me to ask it on your behalf, or it'd be great if you could come on screen and ask Paul and Adam your questions direct. And as ever, we will be sending the video of Paul and Adam's presentation together with their slides later on today. So over to you guys.
Do I want to share my screen now?
Please do. Please do.
Okay, just maybe 2 seconds.
Do you want to sing a song, Paul?
Okay.
I would, but I'm turned deaf. I got thrown out of the church choir.
Sadly, slight technical issue. Host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, that's.
We'll make you a host. Sorry, Adam.
No problem.
Thank you, Lorna.
Technology's great. There we go. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you. Now I need to just get rid of that. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody is well. Yeah, as Richard said, enjoying the great weather from a very different perspective. Okay, so just to position the this event, this is not about what STL thinks we should or you should operate as when working from home. It's not about health and wellness. It's about the use of technology and how we're trying to make the fact that we've all now got to work from home as painless as possible, but getting the same amount of productivity out of our people at the end of the day, whether you're running a business with still 100 people working or 10 people working, you still want to get the maximum effect out. And it's all about, well, for our business, especially customer service delivery. We've had to maintain that level of service throughout this pandemic. So that's been one of the challenges that we're balancing with. For me personally, technology is sadly a passion. I love learning how technology and trends and how it makes life better. Sometimes not always the case, but in a lot of cases it makes life more efficient as well when used appropriately. Deciding which technological solutions you go for is super important. There are many platforms out there. Not all of them are as good as others, but again, that's not a decision-making process STL would force upon you. Our responsibility is to be the best educated library for you, the customer, and just agree what you want the technology to deliver to your business, and then fit the right technology to that to give you the right output. So I suppose, well, we were talking earlier before the call actually started, you know, this is the new normal, and what's it going to look like in 3 or 4 months' time. I think a lot of people will have embraced the home working and got that life-work balance better. For some people, certainly in our own company, they can't wait to get back to the office. And I think we've got to fit all cases for that. So 4 weeks ago, life was very, very different. Certainly was for STL. By the way, because we're a comms and IT company, it doesn't mean that we have access to any other products than anybody else. There's not a secret James Bond shelf with technology on that only people in the industry get. So we use everything that we promote to customers. To coin the phrase, I suppose, we our own dog food. But what STL has done over the last 12 months is we've run our own disaster recovery days or business continuity days. So 12 weeks ago, we ran a disaster recovery day where inevitably what we did is we closed the office down and didn't allow anybody going into the office. So it was unbeknown to us at the time of running that, it was a pre-COVID practice run. Did it run smoothly? Absolutely not. We had instances where people had forgotten to take the laptop chargers home, people that had forgotten to take personal possessions home, people that had forgotten to take files off their desk. So that promotes you to do less of paperwork and more of soft documentation, etc., etc. So that change we sort of learned from a lot. So when COVID-19 came around, and we made that flip 4 weeks ago, we were very well prepared to do that, and we did it without incident, thankfully. Stories that have worked well and not worked well. Well, technology is one of those things that we can live without, but not for long. It tends to go wrong, as most of my team would tell me. The error normally occurs for me between chair and keyboard, which is possibly true, but that's another conversation. As the schools obviously closed down, it brought another set of challenges for home workers, because the broadband that had been up until that time almost say dedicated for the home worker, then had to be shared with another set of consumers, which were now downstairs, streaming movies, watching TV, just normal internet access and online gaming. So we saw a shift in businesses that had moved to home working on what was home broadband services that then needed a greater bandwidth running continuously to deliver those services whilst the children were on holiday. So it is a bit wizardry. STL, we like to think of ourselves as the Harry Potter of Oxfordshire. We connect those businesses to customers, and we do it through the wizardry of modern technology without any fuss, we hope. So there's 3 areas of consideration that we felt were poignant to our business, and our business is probably no different to yours, apart from the content. Our biggest challenges are speaking to customers appropriately, and continuously, and making sure that the customer can speak back to us in whatever medium they want. So we broke this down into 3 areas. One was collaboration, one was connection, and one was communication. And the collaboration is, how do you get your individuals working remotely and operate as a cohesive team? So can they share documents? Is it easy to use? Is it an intuitive piece of software? Is it reliable, and does it price in? The connection side is pretty common sense. It's whatever connectivity you're using. Is it robust enough to run video, as we are doing now? Is it robust enough to run audio over it, and all the other applications that you've got on? Our business, we use 15 applications through collaboration. And what we have found is, in the office, people tended to click in and click out of, whereas at home they tend to log on and stay logged on all the time. So that put a requirement or a demand on our servers as well, which we saw. So that's one of the things that connection, that transportation mechanism came under a lot of stresses over the first 2 or 3 weeks of moving this. And the last one may seem like common sense communication, but I don't know about your business. We're probably speaking now more than we did when we all worked in one office. And there's sub 50 of us in the office, but we speak, team meetings go ahead twice a day. There is a management meeting once a day. There is a company meeting once a week. And we felt that it was important over this period of time to communicate more with individuals and the teams to make sure that they were okay, and to take on their feedback of how they were progressing. And if there were challenges with home working, then we could correct them really quickly to allow the person just to move on and give them the best environment to deliver on. So I hope those are clear, the collaboration, connection, and communication. It seemed like it made sense to us. And those were the 3 points that we focused on when we moved to the DR and or the CV19 position we now find ourselves in. I'll hand over to Adam now.
Hi guys, thanks very much for your time this morning. So introduce myself again, Adam Armitt from STL, one of our IT account managers. And I'm just going to elaborate on some of the points that Paul's made. a bit of housekeeping. Obviously, my email address will be on the last slide. If you've got any questions, then we can feel free to send them over or ask a question in the sidebar, and we'll get to those at the end. But happy to take any questions offline as well. So yeah, as Paul said, we're not. We didn't feel it's SDL's job to provide a sort of best practice for businesses. But what has happened before and sort of during this time that we're experiencing, we're obviously speaking to a lot more customers. And helping them with remote working and mobile working. And what that sort of brought home was there's lots of different businesses in lots of different positions, and it sort of put together what was, yeah, these are the things that we need to look out for. So as Paul said, we've got collaboration, connection, connectivity, and communication. So when we look at collaboration, at STL, we chose to use a Microsoft product called Teams. It's the sort of newer product that a lot of people will have known as Skype for Business and Link previous to that. But Microsoft Teams, a very, very, very well established and yeah, sort of proficient product. We chose to use it because we're a Microsoft house, we're a Microsoft Silver partner, but it enabled us to do a lot of things within the business. So it's video conferencing enabled. It also allows, and hence the Teams element, sort of an element of team working. So we can create interdepartmental teams, project teams, we can assign to-do lists, we can monitor and manage documents and collaborate over a certain document. So it's bringing all of the Microsoft products together in terms of SharePoint and OneDrive and adding them into adding that video enablement and collaboration piece within there as well. We're finding it really useful, and we've rolled this out to quite a lot of businesses now, especially during what's happened. Microsoft have enabled a lot of businesses to have Microsoft Teams free of charge for a period of time. And one of the biggest deployments that we did over the past couple of weeks was a private college in Oxford that moved 160 users, combination of students and tutors, to full remote working via Teams. We managed to turn that around within about 48 hours or so. So that was fantastic. Worked really well for them. Some of the things that we found when we started to use Teams internally, and this is the biggest challenge when any new technology is rolled out to a workforce, because sort of what we mustn't forget, and we have exactly the same situation at STL, you tend to have usually 4 to 5 generations. So you have those sort of technology hungry graduates or apprentices that are used to using technology, right up to, I mean, Bill, our financial director, is in his 70s and he's got to adopt to use these technologies. So we've got the whole width and breadth of age and skill set. Is making sure that the adoption is as good as it could be. And to do that and to facilitate that, one of the measures that we've taken is to roll out some e-learning for products like Microsoft Teams. So we've done that via an e-learning portal. We can offer this out to our customers, and a lot of customers, we've rolled it into these project plans where we're rolling out Microsoft Teams as a solution for them. But it's a web-based learning tool. I'll show you the next slide, which gives you a screenshot of it. So something that you would log on to. The course library has all of the Microsoft and basic cybersecurity training within it. All of the training is broken down into 1, 3, 5-minute videos, and it's just very easy to follow and navigate. So you can, from a management perspective, assign out individual training requirements based on that person's role and responsibilities. And you can monitor who has watched the videos, who's completed the test, for example, where people have got to within their training. One of the biggest things, one of the biggest impacts that it had within our business, our IT team were very concerned that some of the not so technical members of the team were going to be flooding their help desk with calls because they weren't able to create a team, share a document, do some of the things that they were deemed to be basic. But by giving our users access to this training portal, meant that they could self-serve with their own training. So not only could they watch it to sort of learn the processes within the product, they could then refer back to it as they were moving through. So if they'd forgotten how to do something, the search bar, which is in the top left-hand corner of the screen at the moment, the search lessons, you can put in what your question is. It will then pull back the most relevant videos for you. You can watch again and you can go, oh yeah, perfect. And it shows you real time how you do something. So especially when we rolled out internally, it worked well. But with the college example, we gave all 160 users access to the portal, and our volume of tickets stayed relatively low for the number of users on that site, because they're able just to refer back to it themselves and go through, which has been really, really useful. So if we move into connectivity now, yeah, as Paul mentioned, that sort of battle for bandwidth. So our customer experience has told us that on average, we sort of have two adults, two working age adults, and between sort of 2 and 3 children, or 2 or 3 other users in the household. And obviously that battle for bandwidth is huge at the moment. You've got all of us working in terms of using business grade applications. We're using video. We're trying to access CRM applications, accountancy package applications, file storage, uploading documents that we're working on back to the cloud. And it's that trade-off between keeping kids and others quiet in the household and being able to work effectively. And in quite a few scenarios, we have found that that sort of home broadband is creaking to an extent. So how have we overcome this as a business? Going back to Paul's earlier point with regards to DR days, one of the things that we did when we ran a DR day, or in advance of running the DR day, is that we asked all of our users to run speed tests at home and provide examples throughout different periods of the day. So what we would deem to be a quiet period, sort of middle of the day when everyone was at work and kids were at school, right up until the maybe 8, 9 o'clock at night when sort of all of the streaming services are being used, gaming services being used. And that was then able to, we were able to find out which of our users that when we were going to run a DR day wouldn't necessarily have suitable enough home broadband. That's stood us in good stead, and we're not sort of trying to sit here smugly, but it meant that those users that had poor broadband, we put something in place. Now, obviously, the remote working from COVID-19 perspective was forced upon us quite quickly. So how have we managed to deal with that for customers? So we've done the basics in terms of like what physical checks can we do. So if someone is working from home and they have their home office, or the space that they're going to be working from is maybe upstairs, far away from the router downstairs, is there any way that they could move closer to the router for a better Wi-Fi signal? Or even better, can they run a physical cable through the house? And it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but an Ethernet cable, 15-meter Ethernet cable, run through a wired connection is always going to be better than a wireless connection. And in quite a lot of circumstances, that's meant a strong enough signal to work from home successfully. Video might be a bit creaky sometimes, but it's meant that yeah, we've been able to do sort of 99% of the work for those users. I appreciate not always practical for some users. So another element that we've looked at, I've sent out quite a few more of these this week, obviously as people working from home has set in sort of for the full time, is a mobile broadband solution. So essentially that is a router with a SIM card in, so it's not tied to a physical phone line as our home broadband is normally delivered. So working with one of our partners, we're now able to offer a solution with an unlimited data SIM. We'll check that person's home address for signal coverage, for 4G coverage, first of all, and make sure that it's a good, strong coverage inside and outside of the home office. It's best endeavours, obviously it's reliant on the infrastructure, so how their house is built. But again, it's a very robust solution for people that are working from home, that potentially home broadband is poor, or they're struggling with contention issues in terms of the amount of people that connect into their home broadband. So we've sent out quite a few of those over the past couple of weeks. And we've even sent some to people that have been locked down in other countries, for example. So there's some solutions there. Speaking to a customer this morning that's working from France, that was at their second home, which was lovely, but I think they're struggling with broadband access now, whilst they're actually trying to sort of run the business from abroad. Some of the other aspects that we had issues with that we had to overcome, Paul mentioned that some home broadband providers lock down certain access. So if we're running VoIP or telephony services out over the internet working from home, you have to access or open up certain firewall, certain ports on the home broadband router. So we were able to identify those. So Sky and BT tend to be the sort of worst offenders, but we're now well versed in how we can open up those routers, or maybe even send out an additional router to that user's home office. And then the man that's been using all the bandwidth. P with Joe every morning. Hope we're all keeping fit and well. And then finally, yeah, in relation to communication. Oh, we've gone past there. So one of the things, again, sort of on the back of Paul's point earlier, we wanted to make sure that we were speaking internally with our team as much as possible. So those daily calls that Paul mentioned, but also it shouldn't stop STL communicating with our STL customer base. So very quickly, we flipped all of our face-to-face meetings with video conferences where suitable for a customer. And to be honest, we found them not to have any sort of direct impact on the sort of success of the meeting. We're able to go through quite quickly. I think we'll probably try and adopt them more and more with customers anyway. Face-to-face meetings are great for certain things, but yeah, it's not sort of proved difficult for a lot of customers so far. One of the bits of feedback that we had from customers for a while was if they were using a video service that was using their laptop webcam, for example, they didn't feel that, and going back to the adoption point, that they were able to have a decent enough video conference experience because their microphone wasn't very good on the laptop, or their webcam wasn't very good. They felt that the picture was a bit grainy, that they might have been embarrassed to use it with their own customers. So we did find ourselves sort of upscaling a lot of customers' hardware in terms of a decent webcam, a decent headset. So I've got my nice air traffic controller headset on this morning. I've got a decent sort of webcam at home that plugs into my laptop rather than just using the laptop webcam. And those are all sort of reasonably affordable ways to make sure that the experience is the best possible experience for users at home, and delivering the best sort of communication out to our customers, because customers can hear what we're saying. It's a noise cancelling microphone. So hopefully it's going to sort of reduce the amount of issues that people will have with that technology. In terms of what we're going to continue doing more of, so obviously webinars like this, we're able to send out to a larger audience sort of decent chunks of information. So we're going to be running those on a regular basis, and the feedback from customers on that is great. And again, that plays into having headsets and handset webcams that are decent enough, but also the physical sort of diversion of phones for customers, that if they've been working at home for a prolonged period of time, there was immediate concern: how are our customers going to get hold of us? How are they going to contact us? So we've been making sure that we've set up diverts, smart diverts, so it'll ring through to people that are working from home, so they're never missing a call from their customers. And in some circumstances, customers have taken up other technologies that we have available, that you can have a soft phone on your laptop or on a smartphone that will actually present the office number when you make an outbound call. And I think it's really given it sort of shined focus on potentially older technology that customers had in place that now has become a real challenge for them to work around. But we're able to deliver that predominantly remotely with some engineering support over the phone, and that's been really useful for our customers. So I appreciate that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour through those three sections, but as I said at the beginning, our email addresses are there. If anyone's got any questions that they want to follow up on the topics that we discussed today, more than happy to do so. Back to you, Paul. Anything you want to finish up with?
No, just thank you for everybody's attention. I hope we've. It's a very, very large topic, and we tried to keep it within the time frame of the webinar. As Adam said, we're here to help. That's our mission in life. Yeah, our contact details are on the screen, so if we can help at all, there's no daft question in this world right now. So please feel free to come forward. Thank you.
Yeah, if anybody does have any questions, please do put them forward in the chat box on the side. We've got a few minutes left. And if not, as Paul and Adam have said, more than happy for you to contact them direct. Paul in particular has got plenty of time on his hands, playing computer battleships on the screen behind him. So no, seriously, please do ask the questions. They're very, we've used STL for a number of years now. I interviewed Paul recently, Paul and Brennan Cross recently for B4, and I think one of the comments that you made was sometimes you find it difficult to prove your value to people because the service you provide is so good and consistent that you never really have any opportunities to interact with customers, which is a sort of a positive negative in many respects, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. It's a difficult one. You never know how good the insurance company is until you have the worst impact you have to claim.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what's reassuring for our customers out there at the moment is, despite what's been happening, we've never dropped on a service level agreement since this started 4 weeks ago. So we're very mindful, the bits of our business that need to be fully operational, and it's service delivery. That's the only differentiator we have. Yeah, super.
Brilliant, fantastic. Well, thanks both of you for your time today. We've just got a couple of things to run through at the end of the presentation. So, Rob, if you can get those on screen. So we've got the usual community support pages for any of the B4 members that have got anything that they want to send through. We'll add them to those pages and circulate those through social media. So please send that through to us via email and we'll get them on those pages. We've got the 90-day membership, which anybody watching that isn't a B4 member can sign up for free. No obligation for 90 days to access live events like this that we're eventually going to be gating some content. So to get access to everything, then you can sign up for a free, no obligation membership. We've got the B4 live pages. So we've got beautiful smiling face of Paul Ballinger there. We've got lots of talks coming up this afternoon. We've got the Side Business School opens its doors to get a sneak look at the services and facilities that they've got in readiness for when we do go back to whatever the new normal is. Jason McGuigan from Critchley's tomorrow. We've got speed networking tomorrow night. And then we've got plenty of talks going forward. What else have we got coming up on the screen? Then you've got the videos there. Yeah, so all of the past talks you can access via video. As I said earlier, you'll get an email with a link to today's video and the PowerPoint that Adam and Paul presented. Do also catch up with the latest issue of B461. You'll notice Paul there on the right-hand side, strategically placed above the coronavirus strapline, which he nearly gave me a beating for. But we've got a fantastic article with Brendan, founder of STL Communications, and Paul. Great read. If you've not got your copy, have a look online. Really great insight into all the work that Brendan's done, now bringing Paul in on to STL. And looking at Twin Sound Challenge, which has now sadly been postponed to next year. As I said, tomorrow we've got Jason McGuigan of Critchley's talking about stock market volatility. And then we've got Sam Ricketts, manager of Shrewsbury Town. So anybody that's a football fan remembers Shrewsbury, one of the only teams to hold Liverpool this year in the FA Cup. A great insight from a really top young man that's played in all divisions of the Football League. And managed a fair few teams already at the tender age of 36, I think Sam is. So really good young man to get some insight into the world of football at the moment and how they're coping with things and his views on furlough and all sorts of things. So it should be an interesting chat. So I think that's everything. Thank you again for your time. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Nina, in the background. And we look forward to seeing you later for Side Business School or tomorrow for Jason or next week. But that's enough for me. Thanks to the team and for all of you for joining. Take care.